Hey, hey, Mystic Magic fans. We are up for another great edition of Mystic Magic today. And my guest today is Reverend Jerry Hobby. Reverend Jerry is a licensed and ordained minister, a visionary leader, a coach, and a speaker. She's dedicating her life to uplifting humanity. With over 20 years of experience, she supports families in moving through the changing events. And her work is about developing vibrant, thriving programs that grow people. And they are engaging and playful and insightful. And her work is founded on spiritual practice and teaching life enhancing principles. Welcome, Reverend Jerry.
Hello, Rev Celeste.
Glad to have you at Mystic Magic today.
Wow. Well, I'm happy to be here.
Now, your focus ministry is entitled Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth. Can you share with our international audience maybe a moment of spiritual enlightenment that you personally have experienced?
Oh, wow. I personally believe that we have moments of enlightenment in our daily experience, but I'll share one that I feel that maybe perhaps will be beneficial for someone that's moving through something right now. This year has been quite a year. But the most important part in terms of when we talk about enlightenment is we get to continue to remember that we're constantly growing and we are constantly evolving. So many years ago, um, I had an experience, and that experience was a closure. I was having closure to a happy life, a happy experience, and we all have those moments. And in that closure, there came some sadness. And the way it ended was a little painful for me. And the question was, what's next? And so for me, spiritual practice is an important part of it. So I kept working with spirit, and working with spirit allowed me to open up to something even greater. And that something even greater turned out to be spiritual enlightenment and truth focused ministry. And
Great.
I'll tell you, that experience was quite interesting. So for me, it was learning something new. And part of that for me was I needed to heal. And I knew my body needed to heal. And so part of that experience included many different things, from just sitting with sacred healers and working with sacred healers from different modalities, and really grounding myself in who I am as a minister and my teachings as a religious scientist. And the part that I love about being calling myself a religious scientist is I get to scientifically discover, I'm going to call it discover God, to discover spirit. And so I had to deepen in my practice. And one of the things that I did was I started with, and I had a person come and spend over a year and a half working with me weekly and teaching me how to move through these experiences in my body. So I started practicing Qigong.
Nice.
And that was just a rich experience to add to what it was that I was doing. And that's part of how we got to where we're at in this very moment.
Well, wonderful. Now, you are a dedicated team member of the upcoming Honoring Freedom event coming up on June 18th and 19th. Can you share why you're on the team and what the event's about?
Oh, wow. Well, I like to call myself a pioneer. That's first of all. And my ministry is about pioneering and opening up to greater good. And so when I joined this team for a purpose. And that was because I was vested in a big, big, gigantic vision. And that vision was to be a healing presence first in the world, and for people of color, in particular people of African descent, to heal from the stirring that has been taking place and accumulating and accumulating. And so I had joined a group, and this is a group of New Thought ministers and practitioners from all over. Our movement from Unity to CSL, and I'm a CSL minister, Hillside, UFBO, all of them, including Agape, where we would come together and put together something that never ever been done. And from that, we would be a healing presence and heal ourselves. And that is the Celebrating Our Soul event, which is taking place in 2022. And from that and the inner work we've been doing, because we've been engaging in spiritual practice, one of the primary tools we've been using is visioning. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, what I say about visioning. But it opened us up, and we had a need. And that need is, how are we going to fund this project? Well, you always go back to spirit. It's not about where's that money coming from. We know it's going to come. The thing is, we get to open up to that. And so we decided we would come together, the CSL ministers, just as Unity has been gracious, and they were our first sponsor. And so we decided we would come together, and I decided to join this team because I wanted to invest in the bigger vision. And from there became another vision that popped up. And that would be for us to educate, create a legacy, and create, I'm going to call it a template that we can use right now, moving through the times we are in. And so that's what led me to this group. And what I'm excited about is we have a wonderful dynamic program. Not only is it a dynamic program, but we also get an opportunity to support people. And I hope the whole world tunes in with tools to help them move through the stresses of this moment, to move past accumulation of traumas and those compounded traumas from our ancestors, even to our personal experiences. Ultimately,
Yes.
I want to see, this is what I want to see. I want to know that our children are going to be safe and protected. I want to know that they will be able to show up in the world and bring their light and be a source of inspiration for every single person in the world.
Right. Now, as co-chair of Honoring Freedom, I would be remiss if I don't mention that this event is taking place on June 18th and 19th of 2021.
It's right around
And that we are just a couple weeks away from that, and we have a great, great team of people working on it. Now, I know that you are doing a spiritual practice during this event. And I know that, your ministry does a great deal of spiritual practice. And so, what actually does spiritual enlightenment and truth do?
All our work is grounded in spiritual practice. What we are here to do is to engage people in spiritual practice.
So, what does that look like in terms of how it shows up?
How does it show up? We have wonderful programs, and those programs really support people in practicing. They get to bring their life experience and they get to practice. And that practice can range from many different things. I was reminded I had to go in and substitute with one of our programs during the Memorial Day weekend. The team decided, the group, they decided that they wanted to engage in practice, even though it was a holiday. They felt that it was necessary, and that is our peace, our Powerade Peace Group, which meets on a weekly basis. And this is something that was born out of, again, visioning, which is one of my favorite spiritual practices. And it was born out of our practice, and the program known as A Season for Nonviolence is something that I started with as a brand new minister. That was my first project. And I have continued to carry that through year after year. We have those moments. That's part of our programming. And this happened over 4 years ago. We started these Power 8 groups, and we had several of them, and 2 of them have consistently shown up again and again. And that was the peace group. So those are things that we do. We have also a Purple Heart app. And this is an app that you can use and you can download in your app store. And I used to say, don't leave home without it. And I would have a prayer card with the steps of prayer, 5 steps of prayer, or spiritual mind treatment. Now,
So there's an app that people can download.
there is an app that they can download and they can receive.
And what's it called?
It's called the Prayerful Heart app.
Prayerful Heart app. Okay. Can they get that on the App Store? Can they get that on Google Play?
They can get it on Google Play. They can get it at the Apple Store, and they can go to my website, seatfm.org. That's SEATFM.org. And there is an area where you can click on and you can go and download that app. So we made it simple and user-friendly for you so that you can receive prayers as well as send in your prayer requests, because we have a team of practitioners and ministers that are ready and willing to pray with you about whatever is going on in your life.
Okay, so they can go to the website seatfm.org.
Absolutely.
And do you have activities going on Sundays, or is it just any day of the week?
Every day of the week. And of course, on Sundays, we have a special program. It's called the Sunday Power Talk and Prayer. And that was born, they knew that our leadership was coming together every day in terms of prayer. And the members in our communities, those that followed us, says, we want to participate too. So we've opened that up for people to join us. So we get together at 7:30 a.m. In the morning, Pacific time. And we have a quick talk and we have prayer. Yes, but there is something going on every day. We have morning meditations. We start at 7 o'clock Pacific time with a morning meditation, which is wonderful. Right now, we're working with 45 days with Ernest Holmes, a 45-day gratitude journal blended with wisdom. And we get to have the experience. And I love the fact we're towards the end of the book now. And you get to be in that space when he's having his intimate encounter,
mystical moment.
His mystical moment with spirit. And
wonderful.
That is what this is all about. And I believe that even our common people can have a mystical moment. They're mystical moments with spirit, that divine presence.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the show is about, the mystic magic that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just awakening to it. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, since we haven't done a treatment on mystic magic in a while, if you would be so kind as to give us a treatment, and maybe that's around truth and freedom, because that's the name of our show today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, for those that are joining us and probably new to spiritual mind treatment, I always like to just simplify and just say, what we're doing is affirmative prayer. And I'm just going to invite you to just breathe with me and move into that sacred space of the heart. Hmm. And as you move into that sacred space of the heart, I'm inviting you to just imagine that breath moving through your heart. And as it moves through your heart this morning, I'm just inviting you to just open your heart wider than you've ever opened it before. And we move into a place of remembrance, knowing that our anchoring this morning, that there is a part of us that has never, ever been disturbed, hurt, or harmed, that we are divine emanations of the presence, spirit in action, perfect love and perfect light. And in this sacred space, right here, right now, I simply know that there is only the one. It is the one power, the one presence, that one energy. And in this very moment, right here, right now, I know that that presence is alive, it thrives, and it fulfills itself within each and every one of us. And in this awareness, I know that that divine presence is the divine presence that has gone before and it has prepared the way. And in this preparation, I know that there is the spirit of the light that is liberating. There is the spirit of the light that untethers us from anything that is unlike pure, perfect good. And in this sacred awareness right now, I know that divine love prevails, and it is divine love that fulfills itself in all ways through all things. I know that it shows up in a practical way as a liberating factor that heals and fulfills itself as life ever giving of itself, life ever enriching itself. It is the great kindly surprise of spirit, revealing itself as grace and ease, fulfilling itself within our body temples, fulfilling itself in our relationships, our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with life, our relationship with any and everything. It is that divine presence that is abundant and overflowing. It is pressed down, it's running over, and it is multiplied. And yet I know that it fulfills itself as every seeming need met, where spirit expands itself and reveals itself in a practical way within our lives. And I'm so grateful right now to behold that presence of spirit in action. I am grateful for I know that there is a divine blessing that is already at hand, fulfilling itself and magnetized, overflowing and expressing as perfect good for each and every single person that hears this prayer. And it is in this space of perfect love and perfect peace and perfect harmony that I release these words right now into universal law, that sacred yes, that always says yes. And we affirm together. And so it is.
And so it
Amen.
is.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Aho.
Aho. Thank you, Reverend Jerry. And so Reverend Jerry will be opening us up in spiritual practices at Honoring Freedom on Juneteenth. That's June 19th, 2021. And we'll be doing that at 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 12 noon Eastern. Just look for Honoring Freedom on the website and find out in our show notes about how you can be there. June 18th and 19th, 2021. It's just a few days away. Thank you so much for being here, Reverend Jerry. Blessings to you. I appreciate who you are, your consciousness, and your intention to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Thanks again for coming on Mystic Magic.
Thank you.
This is Mystic Magic, exploring our spirit to understand our lives.